Welcome, friends. I'm Gina Nicole, and this is the Goddess Channel. A really interesting message just dropped in for you all. And it's a teaching on grace. This version of our understanding what grace is just hit a little bit differently when I heard how my spirit guides were presenting it. And what they brought up was that as humans, as beings in this realm where we've gotten to explore space and time, where we've got to explore what feels like a sense of a linear reality, where things happen in progression and where growth happens, that there's this beauty to that. There's this innocence and this preciousness to that. And the way I want to paint it for you is, some of you may have had children. And when you're watching that child grow as a parent, they're a baby. They can't barely lift their head. Then they're learning how to crawl. They're learning how to make noise and eat and eventually walk. And that takes months and years maybe to go through that progress of just getting yourself upright and moving around the world. And we don't rush that. We don't judge that. We don't, point fingers at that and cast dispersion at that. We celebrate it. We love that growth, that process, that time it takes to develop new skills, to develop oneself. That's grace. And so that's what our spirit guides brought in today is grace is this life. As we become older people, humans, other humans up until now, haven't had a tendency to give others grace as much. But that doesn't mean that spirit doesn't. So I want you to imagine that spirit, God, the creators of this universe, look at us with grace as those children. And you know what grace is? It's the freedom to make mistakes, the freedom to learn, the freedom to grow. And that's what creates an infinitely expansive universe that is built on the building blocks of love. Because we see it in the micro when we create a new life and we give grace to that new life. And we see it in the macro, our lives that were birthed into form and the grace that we're given to make mistakes, to learn, and to grow. And I think the reason this is coming in today is to open something in our heart chakras. Anywhere that we had disdain for our growth journeys, for making mistakes, for trying and learning and failing and pivoting and all of those things that we do. Notice if you've held a lot of judgment and blame and shame upon yourself for growing, for learning, for making mistakes. Notice where you're thinking you didn't do it fast enough or good enough, where you're still blaming yourself for things that are just part of growing. You might want to put a hand on your heart and receive this now. You are given ultimate grace. You're being invited to receive it. And if you don't know how, just start with a breath. That breath is given to you freely. You didn't have to earn it. You didn't have to be faster or better. Just breathe. Let your nervous system settle. Come into a slower tempo with yourself. And you may even want to ask, if I could receive grace, what would that be like? Show me. Ask your guides. Ask the angels. Archangels, show me the grace that is here for me. Let me receive it. You might notice on this channel that one of our purposes here is to help you connect to spirit, to those benevolent beings that are here to support you and help you and guide you. There's no separation between you and God, between you and Source, between you and any light being, between you and me, between anybody, at any frequency, form or spirit. And we're helping bridge that connection energetically and intentionally with these channeled messages. I'm just feeling a really soothing wash coming over us. I can feel this really shifting in our cells. So as always, I thank you for your presence today. I thank you for being a co-creator on this call and being open to these messages and to receiving, or even being curious about receiving. Baby steps. We all got this. I love you.